When people look at you as you're a dancer or a choreographer, they don't see the whole picture. And so I think what I've been able to do is try to understand humanity more and more and create work that addresses it. As it's grown and become, the blessings just flow. Now, it's not blessings without a whole lot of hard work and a whole lot of folks doing the work. Everybody, it's work. But the joy of it is as if we have never worked a day in our lives.
Denver's historic Five Points district, often called the Harlem of the West. This small but mighty Mecca, known for art, culture, music, and for one former resident, it's the birthplace of a legacy. The corner of Park Ave in North Washington was once home to Shorter African Methodist Episcopal, but now is home to Cleo Parker Robinson Dance. In this 53rd year of the company, Cleo reflects on her life, the legacy she's built, and the impact of her journey.
53. Oh, that's a lot of years. I can't even say it, 53. It's a lot of years, right? I think it's always a blessing. I wear this little cap that says blessed. And I really do. I can walk anywhere. I walk into Safeway across the street. I walk anywhere downtown. My hat says blessed. And people will stop and say, yes, you are. And then I know it. It's an affirmation. It's a blessing. It's very exciting. But I never imagined, we started in the storefront on Welton Street. I think about how I grew up in Denver. I was born here in Five Points. And Charlie Burrell, the great bass player, he is the musician that brought me home from the hospital. So I already grew up with music. I grew up not in Harlem, not in East LA, I grew up in Denver, Colorado, on that corner.
Black and blue.
From the 1930s to the 50s, Five Points emerged as a cultural and entertainment hub. Despite housing policies that kept African Americans segregated, along with rising hostility from the Ku Klux Klan, Five Points thrived and became an entertainment must-see. Its flagship venue, the Rossonian, was Cleo's first home.
I grew up with a mother and father who were so idealistic because they came up during the Jim Crow laws where blacks and whites could not come together at all.
Cold empty bed, springs hard as lead, feel like golden dead, wished I was dead.
They lived in an apartment of one of the very well-known black dentists. And it was his wife that said that she would allow my mother and father to stay with them until we were allowed to have our own place. So my mother, being the only white, she had to go up the back stairs because she wasn't supposed to be there. The only time you saw white people is when they came to the club, and that's the only time they came down to Five Points, is to come to the Five Points Rossonian. And even though it was a time of segregation, they were civil rights leaders. They were thinking about social justice all the time because they had to fight to be together. They had to fight to be together.
So black and blue.
Both of them were musicians. My father was a horn player. He played trombone and trumpet. My mother was a French horn player with the San Diego Symphony. So my mother played classical music, my daddy played jazz. And then we listened to everything in between. They wanted us to listen to everything, from country western to hearing languages I mean, the world came to me like that, very young. So we would have people from all kinds of backgrounds at our home, cooking and singing and dancing. And so we felt rich. We didn't have anything. We didn't have any money. We didn't have a lot of buildings. We didn't have a lot of anything. But we had each other. That made us dream. Television was major. The radio and television were major. So to see Sammy Davis Jr. on television was deep. So we watched him and imitated him, like kids do with TikTok, but it was better. That's how we learned. We would watch it and we would do the jitterbug and we would see people doing the jitterbug and we would try and he'd say, okay, turn off the tube for a minute, let's try it. What did we see there? And then he'd go, okay, make up some other steps. That could get a little boring. So we became very innovative, thinking about that. How to, if you don't have a lot of money, you have to figure out how do you not become bored? My father and mother were very clear about that. You have to read, you have to support each other. You gotta help do the chores. You gotta be intelligent. You gotta know something. And so you couldn't do it just by watching television. That wasn't enough. You had to read, there had to be quiet time. So when there was quiet time, it was quiet time. But when there was time to dance and sing, it was all the way live. They took me down into the club to hear Duke Ellington, Cab Calloway, Billie Holiday, everybody else. I'm sure I started dancing right then. They'd be playing, they were jamming all the time. My mother wanted everyone to stop playing music at a certain hour. Everybody would come upstairs and have dinner, because she loved to cook for everybody. So she would wear these earplugs, and she'd be like, come up, I told you all to come up, and he'd go, and then the music would stop, and then she'd still be yelling and go, Mama, why are you yelling? What a blessing, right?
Black people! Know this, that there's something between a little dark girl who plays by herself in the backyard and dances to a strange, silent, and invisible rhythms that are mystical to her white neighbors.
1971's The Blackest Eye marks the first televised performance for Cleo Parker Robinson Dance Ensemble. Cleo recalls growing up in a time when the stage wasn't always so welcoming, and performances such as this was few and far in between.
I got introduced to dance through watching dancers. I mean, I loved to dance growing up, but to watch dancers prepare for a show and to get, ready for a show and perform and have an audience and all that. Very young, I started at the Bonfils Theater because my father was the first person of color that they ever hired. The art was all about class. It was about class. And so nobody of color ever came to the theater. They never even thought about it. That was like, what? Because it was segregated. Daddy was our greatest teacher in this sense, that he'd work all day cleaning after the ballet dancers, after the actors, after the great societies would come in. They looked down upon him. And then he would say, you did a beautiful job on stage. And they're like, well, what do you know about the stage? You're the janitor. I said, no, I watch you. I watch you every night. Every night. You're doing a beautiful job. They're like, really? Do you understand how powerful that is? But Daddy had to earn his place as a man who would have dignity from day one. So he would bring us to the theater and we would go through the back door because we couldn't go through the front. So that's where it started. So I couldn't just be a dancer. I had to I had to understand how important it is to not only come through the front, the back, the side door, but to have our own building. And you're not coming in somebody else's building. To own your own building, it was important. This is my earlier company and later company. My sister danced with me. This is me doing Run Sister Run about Angela Davis, my sister, and Winifred Harris. And then that's Catherine Dunham doing Bear House Blues, but that's the role I do now. I do that. I don't know there's a time when I wasn't dancing, let's say that. I started the company when I was 21, and we learned to dance to celebrate and to come together. It wasn't about, I'm gonna go take a ballet class, like many, many children do. That's their journey. That wasn't mine. So, we grew up in that sense of self-expression and freedom. Everybody wants that. They don't always know how to access it. So my work has been about how do we make the beauty of life accessible to everyone? And then they can make a choice about whether they want it or not. But having access to it is what has not always been the case. Only certain people with certain class, or certain culture, a certain race, a certain religion, a certain income. We're like this, no. We should all have access. Dance might be the avenue that we all have to move together, but once we move together, we're in each other's minds and in our spirits and in our emotions. And I'm trying to respect all that, We're like that,
New York, where everyone who was anyone went. The city that never sleeps was the destination for anyone with the dream of the glitz and glamour lifestyle, a lifestyle Cleo was sure she wanted to be a part of.
I went to New York, which is where I thought I should be, because when I went there at 19, I was like this, New York, here I am. And then I went, do you know how many dancers are in New York? Do you know how many did not need me? And so I was a little shocked that I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. And I went, why did I think I was ready? Because nobody told me how to get ready. So I'm like this, no other child will go anywhere without them being ready. So that's why I felt that I had to create a school as soon as I came back. And we had a little room, one little room, and we were happy with that. We felt we were blessed to have that space. So as it's grown and become, the blessings just flow. Now, it's not blessings without a whole lot of hard work and a whole lot of folks doing the work. Everybody. I mean, if they know they're working with me, they're working. It's work. But the joy of it is as if we have never worked a day in our lives. It's an extraordinary thing to have a community that will have faith in an idea and something you've not seen, but have faith in a vision and a spirit. But I think it's about an energy, and I always love being from Denver. I love being from 5 Points. This community is extraordinary, and many of the artists that I brought from all over the world have never even thought about coming to Denver. We used to go over Denver. They go from New York to LA, and they would miss Denver, Colorado. And we made sure that didn't happen. We made sure they had a reason to stop, and not just for the mountains, and not just for the Broncos, or for the mountains or the skiing, but for the people, for the cultures. Growing up as an African American woman, but biracially, it's kind of a challenge trying to discover who you are and who people think you are, defining who you are. So as I say, I'm a black woman. Some people will say, but you don't look black. So then you have to go and redefine yourself all the time about what culture means. That race really is culture. It's not color. Race is culture. And we all have color, but we all have culture. It was stressful. It was not a wonderful moment. It was so damn stressful. We were internally fighting. See, that stress creates tension. And if you can understand, it's not personal, but it's the tension that it creates. But you want to be right. You got to be right there on time. You got to be you don't have time to eat or rest or sleep or nothing. You better be on it. And no, there are no excuses. You can't have an excuse. Forget it. If you have an excuse, you've missed the train. You missed it. There can't be any excuses. So I think that's what people don't understand, is that you have to become a warrior. You have to be loving and kind, but you better be ready to be out there to take a stand. You have to do that. You have to. And you have to be smart, and you have to pray a lot. And I prayed through many, many times. So for us to be even plucked out, to be looked at, and for people to learn more about why was Black dance important, why was our culture important, and it's beyond Black dance. It's all of that, because nothing stands alone. Nothing. So I knew I was carrying the baton. I was standing on her shoulders and the shoulders of many, many more. But it's a tremendous responsibility when you know that.
The techniques that I knew and saw and experienced were not saying the things that I wanted to say. I simply could not, with purely classical ballet, say what I wanted to say. I could do a story, of course, in ballet. As you know, so much ballet is just a narrative. But to capture the meaning in the culture and life of the people, I felt that I had to take something directly from the people and develop that. That's the teacher that inspired me. That was the one that blew my mind, because she would do stormy weather, and you would see her coming down with all that wonderful, the fog following her into the set with Lena Horne and everybody else. That was it. I didn't need to see any more. It stayed imprinted, so that later, when I began to meet Miss Dunham and then try to raise money for her, then come and take classes with her in East St. Louis, and then be chosen as the dancer that would continue her legacy. It's huge, and a huge responsibility, because she was so many things to so many people. And so I don't try to be like her, because she had her own journey. She came up in the 30s. I came up years later, coming out in the 60s. That's a very different thing. I think all of the combination of growing up with social justice, growing up with the need to change the way people saw us as a race, as a gender, having that respect, but also having a voice. And some of that training, I don't think parents do anymore. So I think that what I realized is that the dance studio, the organization itself, has to help support the parents. We have to be those voices in those places to listen for some of the young people. And some of them are coming to me from all over the world. And they had the same challenges. It doesn't matter. So I had to learn that the company, the ensemble, the organization became a family unit that they needed. So I learned that. I didn't know I'd have to be a psychiatrist and a counselor and a mama and a sister and you have to do all that for each other. And so when people look at you as you're a dancer or choreographer, they don't see the whole picture. They don't see it. You're coming to see dance, but you also experience it. So thank you for bringing your dance spirit and all of the ancestors that come with you, because I know that the ancestors are always dancing with me to keep this company together for 53 years. So I give thanks. I say.
Cleo Parker Robinson has stood the test of time. She's become a cultural ambassador that has influenced the world of dance, not only in Denver, but across the globe. With humility and grace, she says her name doesn't just represent her, but is for the entire community.
I mean, I think it brings a lot of pride. It's just a lot of pride of a lot of people. People were always saying, I'm the one. I'm like, I think you have the wrong person. I don't know. Every time I'm on that stage, I'm like, I need to be fired. I fire myself, right? But they were like, Cleo, you need to do this. Cleo, you need to do that. You need to come to that meeting. You need to be over there with Stokely Carmichael. You need to come and hear Dr. King. You need to be. I was like, okay, all right. It wasn't that I had a vision. People had a lot of vision for me. And I think you have to pay attention to that too. Because then you know you're not out there for yourself. You were out there in a bigger self.
For expanding our nation's appreciation for the practice and preservation of dance from the African diaspora.
On March 21st, 2023, President Biden awarded the National Medal of Arts to the International Association of Blacks in Dance, an organization Cleo helped establish and serves as vice chair.
To be in Washington right now and to be receiving the National Medal for the Arts was really an extraordinary moment. It was overwhelming and it was wonderful. And I was pinching myself. I was like, I'm at the White House. And then I wanted to act up, right? They were playing, the military musicians were playing music all around the room. And I would stop and dance in front of one of them and dance in front of another. And that was a wonderful moment. That was really great. That I didn't have to be in the limelight. I could be a part of an organization that we helped build for 35 years. I think I brought a whole lot to it, but there's a point where it has to continue. And you have to have young people with energy, with vision, who've learned lessons that want to make it better. You gotta have all that. But they also need the wisdom around them and the confidence that says, baby, go on, I believe in you. Even if you don't believe in yourself, I see something in you. So I'm glad that we have a chance to talk about it, because my teachers also, my mother and father were the first teachers, but my husband became my teacher. My son became my teacher. My son was a great teacher for me, a great teacher, taught me many lessons being a mother and traveling around the world, trying to create a name for this community, not just for myself, but a name for this community, and leaving my son to do it. That was hard. That's hard as a mother. That was hard. That's hard as a wife. Because I'm like this, wait, sugar, I'll be right back. Hold it, stay right there. I'll be right back. So seeing that Tom stayed with me and helped me create the organization for 52 years, and that Malik is carrying on this legacy, better than I could ever imagine it. Better than I could ever imagine it. It's better. Tom Robinson, I can talk about him all night long. But he was quite a man. He was just beautiful. Tom was, anybody who knew Tom knew he's like the man behind the woman. They always say behind every good man there's a good woman, but behind every good woman is a good man. And he was clearly, I called him St. Thomas. I remember
late in our marriage, I would talk about it because I loved him so much. And he was my hero, and I was his shero. I mean, honestly, we were that for each other. But, because I would hear him give a speech, and he'd be talking to he had all the Big 8, the Big 12, the NFL, and he would say, and I would listen, and he didn't always know I was listening. He'd say, my role model and my hero is Cleo. And I'd be like, what? I'd be like, yes! I'd be like, that's my baby, yeah, that's right.
When I think about my mom's legacy, I think there's a few things that come up. And it's hard not to really think about her personality and her charisma and the energy that she brings.
To work with her is absolutely to love her. To watch her every day, what you see is what you get with her. Always kind, always energetic, always optimistic.
Whenever I'm around Cleo or her team, I always feel like I belong. And that's Cleo's superpower.
My granddaughter has had the wonderful opportunity to take classes at your studio, and I'll never forget performing on stage in full costume in one of your shows of Dancing with the Stars.
What you've done in this town over the years to bring attention to us beyond the state of Colorado is just tremendous work and something that should be commemorated and celebrated.
She is nationally and internationally known. She is a stalwart, passionate, and unmitigated leader in uplifting the stories of Black dance.
Not only does CPRD develop and perform extraordinary works of creative brilliance, but the company builds joyful, compassionate, multiracial community.
This company is part of an elite lineage of Black dance in America. There are only a handful of companies in this nation that can claim this level of impact and importance.
Through its more than 50 years, this company has no doubt changed lives and shaped futures. And that's thanks in no small part to the company's fearless leader, Cleo Parker Robinson herself.
Mom, I want to congratulate you on 53 years of excellence.
Thank you for your vision in the field. Thank you for the love of dance. Thank you for being just you.
Whether you know it or not, you are an institution and a cherished treasure for our city, for our state, and without question, our entire region.
It's been such a blessing getting to know you and experiencing the magic of Cleo Parker Robinson.
I love, honor, and admire Cleo Parker Robinson.
Thank you, Cleo.
Congratulations, Cleo.
Congratulations, Cleo, on all that you've accomplished. And congratulations to everyone at Cleo Parker Robinson Dance.
I'm truly blessed to be carrying the legacy and to be your son, but also to be leading this organization in Denver on a regional level and on a national level, and following in your footsteps in this way. And thank you for believing in me and giving me this opportunity to do this work. Congratulations.
I know peace, love, respect for everybody. Peace, love, respect for everybody.